Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful, swampy mangroves of South Florida, and today's date is Saturday, December 12th, 2020. I'm not going to do any rants. Just want to be pretty brief, and it's mainly about an interesting Proclamation President Trump signed, believe it or not. And came from whitehouse.gov. Originally, I seen this at federalregister.gov. And this proclamation on Human Rights Day, Bill of Rights Day, and Human Rights Week 2020. And this is what he has to say. Nearly 250 years ago, heroes of our revolution signed a Declaration of Independence, offering a bold enumeration of inalienable rights endowed to us by our Creator. In time, with independence secured from a tyrannical monarchy, our nation etched these principles of liberty and equality into the law of our fledgling nation. Then we ratified our Constitution. The revolutionary idea embodied that certain individual rights are beyond the reach of government has resonated around the world. Today and this week, we celebrate our sacred rights and the example that they set for the rest of history. James Madison, who drafted the Bill of Rights text, was initially skeptical of the need to secure specific rights explicitly in the Constitution, believing the checks and balances inherent in our system of government would operate to achieve that objective. But he came to recognize the values that the Bill of Rights could provide and work to ensure that the individual rights and freedoms of Americans were precisely enumerated in the highest law of the land. Madison was acutely aware that while a government formed to serve its people is just and legitimate, power lodged as it must in human hands will ever be liable to abuse. Accordingly, he worked to imprint essential human rights, including the rights to peacefully assemble, human freedom of speech, and free exercise of religion in our foundation legal text, empowering generations of Americans by protecting them from government abuses. The revolutionary understanding of human rights reflected in the Declaration of Independence and encoded in our Constitution has provided a blueprint for the world in advancing individual human rights. In 1948, looking to our Bill of Rights as a model, the United Nations General Assembly established the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which recognizes inherent dignity and equal and inalienable rights of mankind. Earlier this year, we also celebrated the 45th anniversary of the signing of the Helsinki Accords, in which the Western world acknowledged similar fundamental human freedoms in defiance of the Soviet Union. Despite these milestones, the world is still plagued by tragic human rights abuses, including the oppression of women, forced labor, racism, and ethnic and religious persecution. My administration continues to fight these injustices on all fronts while calling on other sovereign nations to respect the unalienable rights of their people. Earlier this year, I signed an executive order on preventing online censorship, which protects and fosters freedom of expression for Americans on social media and other platforms, and also seek to combat human rights abuses abroad, like the mass imprisonment of religious minorities in China, which are often obscured by a cloud of false information online. Additionally, I recently signed an executive order on advancing international religious freedom, which prioritizes this fundamental freedom in American diplomacy and recognizes that advancing religious freedom abroad is vital to combating rising levels of violence and crime against humanity around the globe. There is no greater defender of liberty than the United States, and we will remain steadfast in our efforts. During Human Rights Day, Bill of Rights Day, and Human Rights Week, we cherish the unique story of our nation and celebrate the patriots who helped our country secure our fundamental rights, freedoms, and values for ourselves and our posterity. We also take pride in the role that this heritage is played in advancing and protecting human rights around the world. America's commitment to individual liberty and human dignity is at our very core. We acknowledge that the principles set forth in the Bill of Rights are foundational, and we commit to ensuring their legacy in our country as we continue to lead the way toward stronger human rights protections around the world. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim December 10th, 2020 as Human Rights Day, December 15th, 2020 as Human Bill of Rights Day, and the week beginning on December 6th, 2020 as Human Rights Week. I call upon the people of the United States to mark these observances with appropriate ceremonies and activities, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 4th day of December in the year of our Lord 2020, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 245th. Donald J. Trump. I admire that proclamation, but always gotta be leery in good faith. Like he supports red flag laws, which violates due process, is a bill of attainder. Always gotta look at that. Always gotta be aware of him signing bundled amendments as well. That would pose a breach our rights. However, when it comes to the U.S. bill, to the Bill of Rights, our United States Bill of Rights, it means government keep out, period. These little laws that's considered repugnant is void. All you gotta do is read Article 1, Section 9 of our U.S. Constitution. Bill of Attainder and ex post facto laws are prohibited. In addition, got the 10th Amendment we can nullify. Nullification does work, folks. If you study the history of the United States, how the Fugitive Slave Act became a failure, 18th Amendment as well. And of course, certain suspects in the risky rebellion were done by jury nullification. All this works, folks. Remember, our constitutional republic has a 3 voting system: ballot box, grand jury box, and trial jury box. Always preserve these things. Doesn't matter if you like President Trump or not. Overall, this is a good proclamation, and I do admire him for that. But always got to keep him on his toes, including all of our servants that are elected, federal, state, and local, with no exceptions. We'll just wait and see on January 6th during the joint congressional session. It can go 1 vote per state, like they did in 1824 election. And it would be very interesting indeed. But the bottom line is this: we all have obligations on protecting these rights as well. The more you know, the more you exercise it, the less you fear. Don't let any tyrants tell you how to live, how to run your lives, or your business. I see some places down here are locked, been shut down because they have overpacked. Trying to tell us how many people could be per assembly. Null and void. That's a fact. Not just on our U.S. Bill of Rights, but on our state's Bill or Declaration of Rights. I'll be adding the U.S. Bill of Rights edition from the JPFO. It tells you what the first 10 amendments are about. Self-explanatory, with some clarification. And that will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, me send something that's interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to the quorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes of this episode on my speaker page. And if you want to send me, contact me, you can hit me at LokiLuck3@gmail.com or LokiLuckNumbers03@protonmail.com. And if you want to do a donation, you can hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuck3. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.